Power Lunch on Power 98.7. Thank you so much for being a part of the program. 9 minutes after 2. And on a Tuesday at this time, what do we do, folks? What do we do?
Tech Tuesday.
Yep, we take it the tech way, and we take it everything from hardware, software, what we imagine tech will look like in the future, how tech is involved in industries at the moment. Something I'm very obsessed with is what our kids should be studying in order to be up to date in terms of tech. We've even spoken from a governmental level, talking about what's happening in the new curriculum of tech and AI and how people are learning, and if we are at the precipice, inside, or even past the fourth economic revolution. So here to talk to us today about a very, very important topic, and it's always this thing of, as soon as tech is going to be innovated, as soon as something is created, you'll always find the bad players who will then use it for bad things. How are you doing, Johan?
Pabi, super good to be with you, and what an important topic today.
Yeah, absolutely. On Tech Tuesday today, we're discussing deepfake pornography. So this has become one of the new faces of school bullying, and it's a disturbing trend where AI tools are used to create explicit, non-consensual fake videos of minors, intensifying cyberbullies at school. So imagine we've got a picture of you, and I mean, anyone can take a picture of you at lunchtime, in the classroom, whatever it is, and someone goes and uses very easy to find technology, as far as I understand, Johan, and then they put your face on some naked man doing something inappropriate, or some naked woman doing something inappropriate, and then they spread that around the school, and then you are the topic of conversation for that week. What that does to the psyche, and how we can start teaching more and more in schools and at home how to handle it, how to expose that it is deep fake, and, anything else our expert Johan would like to bring into this conversation as well. Where would you like to start, Johan?
Oh, Bobby, as a parent, I don't even know. So, firstly, what is deepfake technology? It's when you use somebody's image or voice or video, and you can impose it onto another image or another scenario. And these days, it is so real. Years ago, we could see that the shade on the nose is different than the shade on the body.
Right.
There was this whole Will Smith video of him eating food. It was such a laughter. It was so fake, you could see it. But these days, the technology is free and so good that it is indistinguishable from the real thing. So I'm the father of a boy, and that's also scary, but imagine being the father of a girl. And our youngsters share thousands of pictures online, and you just take 5 or 10 of those pictures, and you can easily create a image or a video that is pornographic and spread it around. Now, school bullying has been around since, I guess, Adam and Eve, probably. But we are taking it to another level. And like you said in the intro, Bobby, what it will do to that child, to the parents, it's out of control already. And we need to look at how do we educate our youngsters, our teachers, us as parents, to make sure that we minimize the impact of this. It's going to hit you sometime or another if you're a parent, and we have to be very aware.
Getting old is a very hard thing because you try to keep on top of everything, but then something slips out and it just exposes you. Here I am saying they can take a picture of you at lunchtime, they can take a picture of you anywhere, but we're putting pictures of ourselves on social media, Johan. So, of course, it's like a farm. It's a plethora of photographs that they can use and then do whatever it is that they want to do with it. So the surge happened dramatically worldwide between 2023 and 2025, right? And detected deep fakes are increasing tenfold from 2022 to 2023. Why do you think this is happening in such numbers?
Yeah, so to confirm, 98% of all deepfakes are pornographic. almost a 500% increase over the last 2 years of deepfake pornography. The reason is because you don't need to be a coder, you don't have to be technical, the applications are free, and you just, like you say, and it can be a Facebook picture, or you just take a picture of somebody in the school hall. It is, but the question is, what does it say about our society and our children that this is a scourge? And why do we want to embarrass somebody so much by creating this deepfake pornographic image or video? Is it just because it's fun, as stupid as it is? Or does it say that there's a deep-rooted problem in our society and the way our children are being raised? So basically the increase, I think, Pabi, is just that it's free and it is so powerful and it's so accessible, where 5 years ago it was not. But why do we do it, and why do our children? What homes do they grow up in that causes them to do this? That is, I think, one of our root questions here.
But bullying has always been there, and we've had conversations. I know in my home we've had conversations about what type of person is a bully. What do you think the bully is feeling, compensating for, what's happening at home? We've had those kinds of conversations. But the fact that you mentioned 90% of deepfakes are pornographic takes this into a completely different arena, because are we now saying that amount, if not more, of our young people are exposed to pornographic material on a daily basis?
Yeah, it's 98%, Barbie, and obviously ranges across all the, if you would, I don't even know what to call it, genres of pornography.
Yeah.
And this disproportionately targeting women, of course. I mean, there are already apps out there where, well, I guess guys or women can create deepfake pornography themselves with whatever their fantasy is, from a photo or something else. But the fact that it's hitting our children, and like you said in the intro, the fact that it is often pornography of children, that is troubling. Our children are exposed to it. It's freely available. I remember when I grew up, and this is going to tell you how old I am, if I wanted to see some naughty pictures, I would buy the Scope magazine in the local cafe, sneak it into the home. And there were stars everywhere. But now it is in your face. And if we don't have control over our children's devices, what they are exposed to, what they see at school, they will be bombarded with pornography. And they are not at the age to distinguish whether it's good or bad. It changes their world. Now, this happened to my son about 3 years ago. He's 11 now. But a friend at school showed him a pornographic video, and from what I gathered is that it was very explicit, that it was kind of almost like a rape scene. Now, can you imagine him seeing that? And he was in a state, as you can imagine. Now, he's not even, in my view, old enough to really talk about the whole sex thing and the birds and the bees and stuff, but I was forced to talk to him about it, and he thought that every time anyone would make love is like a rape scene.
I was going to say, for that to be his introduction into what this is frightening.
No, so it took a long time. It took some play therapy from a professional.
Oh, man.
It got into a stage where I only gave him age-appropriate information, but his thinking has shifted to it's a good thing, it's an adult thing, it's a beautiful thing. But how sad is it that with technology and with the influence of friends at that age, he was shown that kind of imagery? Because in my era, when I was his age, I would, apart from, as I said, the Scope or whatever was out there, I would never be exposed to this. They just bombard it. It's everywhere. You can't put your child on an app or an Xbox or an iPad or something and hope for the best. They will see porn, and they will see explicit, horrible rape porn. And you will probably never know it, and that will form their image of what it is to be in a relationship for the rest of their lives. So it's a huge wake-up call for parents, caregivers, and teachers, I think, Barbie.
We're going to take a very short break, Johan. Hang on the line for us. Artificial intelligence expert Johan Steyn on the line with us, talking about deep fake pornography and how it's reaching schools and how it's becoming the basis of a lot of school-based bullying at the moment. Give us a call. Let us know your experiences as we continue this conversation after this.
Never miss any conversation. Download the podcast on power987.co.za and listen at your convenient time.
It's Tech Tuesday on Power Lunch on Power 98.7. What is deep fake pornography and how is it reaching schools? We're talking to human-centered AI advocate Johan Steyn, who's been talking to us about some of the spikes in deep fake pornography. 98% of those images are disproportionately targeting women, and you can just imagine then what happens in the school culture. You get bullied, you get told that you're all sorts of names, and that can have incredible, long-lasting, lifelong-lasting effects on you as the child. And Johan, you were telling your story about how your youngster had a friend who brought this to his attention, and it completely shifted how he was thinking. He wasn't even at the birds and the bees conversation yet, and that for me frightens me the most, because we can do every humanly possible block and no 18s, and you can't open this and you can't go there, and then someone at school has a phone. And
Probably.
yeah.
So true. So
Yeah.
do what you can as a parent. There are many free and good apps so that you can control the screen time of your child's phone or iPad or whatever. And you also can block adult material very effectively, I've found. And you can also get reports on what they've been searching, the words they've been using, and then you can pick up things around bullying or maybe exposure to drugs or many other things, because they will Google these things.
Yeah.
But what happens at school or when they're at a party, we've got no control over. And this is where a relationship with the child comes in. And luckily with my kid,
He
could
told
come
you.
to me and say, Dad, this is what I saw. And he knew, and I'm the most imperfect parent, like all of us, but he knew there wasn't going to be condemnation, freaking out or something, that I would sit him down and talk to him through it. Now, if your child, for whatever reason, doesn't feel they can come to you, or for that matter, an auntie or an uncle or a grandparent, then who are they going to speak to? Because whatever they get from school and from the mates at school will be nonsense.
Yeah.
So, that's the thing. Block, use the tech, do everything you can, but they need to come and talk to you and say, I've seen this thing. I don't understand what it is. Is this what sex is or whatever? And then you talk them through it. You make it age appropriate, but you are as real as you can. I would rather him come to me. Because I remember when I grew up, what kids at school and guys at school told me about sex was shockingly wrong. So that's where you can't outsource parent to technology. Be a parent, be present, ask them and listen for the cues. What is bothering them? What are the certain keywords they're talking about? And if needed, and if you can afford it, and if it's appropriate, to have the child go to therapy. It's not necessarily always needed, but it starts with being a good parent before it even starts with the tech, I think, Pabi. And as imperfect and as busy as we are, we have to do it.
What parent?
Being parents, good parents involved with our kids. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, yes. No, absolutely. There's no other way, especially in this world that we're living in. And I imagine our parents thought, especially in this world we're living in, and theirs before them. But there is no way to just plonk a device in front of your child and hope for the best. And lots of people are saying that, right? So I've got a WhatsApp here, Johan, that says parents need to download an app called Family Link. It's powered by Google. Then you can see what's happening on the phones. And then they say, can we talk about school transport to school playing vulgar rap about how you harvest the spinach. Oh, it took me so long to figure out what harvest the spinach was. It took me so long to figure that out. But so we're talking about vulgarity in the music. So perhaps you want to just talk about the family link. You've talked that there are a few, and then we'll talk about vulgarity in other spaces. Yeah.
Certainly. There are many good apps. Some of them will cost you $10 a month, but there are many free apps and it's again, just get off your butt and investigate it. Google it, check it out, parent, where you connect it with your child's device. And as I said, you can control their screen time. You can see what they're searching, and you can block adult content fairly, I would say 98% accurately. Just make sure that, and again, whether it's look at all the devices, depending on the kind of home you have. It could be phones, iPads, the TV, just to make sure that they are protected. There will be things over time that will slip through, and that's where that parental relationship comes in, Pabi. But talking about the music, because I've heard him, he came to me with music he's heard at school, which is very vulgar. And it's normally about the way men see women, about them, if I may say the word here, about being sluts, etc. Yes. And he would ask me, Daddy, why are they saying, what is a slut? Why are boys talking about girls like that? And then again, you need to sit him down. Talk to him about it, because his worldview will be formed by how this music is, in a sense, almost hypnotizing them, and especially young boys, about what women are for, which are sexual objects, and to be dehumanized. And that's what pornography is. But this is pornography in song and sound. And it is, and I've heard some songs where I think I would never, ever want my child to hear it. It's so, and it's on Spotify. It's on YouTube. It's everywhere, and it's shocking because it's normally affecting boys and the way they look at girls. And if that's the way you grow up as a young boy, and if that is what women are for, and how to treat them, and that's, I think, how a lot of young boys grow up, whether it's tech or not. That's why we are living in the world we're living in, I think, probably when we look at gender-based violence and the like. All I'm advising parents in particular is don't be asleep at the wheel. You don't have to be a tech expert. You don't have to have 75 different devices. It could be one phone, one TV, one iPad. Yeah. Or even if you don't have any tech in your home, you still need to educate yourself, listen to webinars, and have a relationship with your kid where you instruct them about these things and where they can come to you freely without fear to talk about these things. Nothing, I think, will replace that ever.
You're absolutely right. Nothing will replace that. And the music, I mean, I remember the music I listened to, those who know, and you probably do too. My favorite artist, I was listening even on the way to work today to Eminem. And Eminem says truly the most graphically revolting things.
Yep.
I mean, you will burst into flames walking into a church listening to Eminem. It's so bad, right? But the conversation around what this all means and why he's so angry with his mother and what happened in his life and why poverty and those kinds of things were happening at the time. So thank goodness. I also just wanted to say about vulgar music, there's also a lot of vulgar music that is using men as toys as well. I just want to say that we're in that space. So, wherever it is that you are, your school transportation has to listen to you. And you have to have a kid who'll go home and say, Papa Wako Transported today was playing some hectic stuff and we can't deal with it. So that is very, very important. Let's go to the headlines and then we'll take Boneswa, who's on the line.
Speak up. Call the power line on 0861 987 000.
Deepfake pornography. That is our Tech Tuesday conversation. So if there's something in this conversation that you don't want to explain just yet to young ears, please know that is what we're talking about. But most importantly, it's about AI, and it's about the use of AI and making sure that our children have an understanding of, the consequences of this, and also making sure that it becomes a part of the media framework to teach in schools, right? To make sure that people are really aware of what's going on, because this phenomenon is no longer a fringe concern. It has skyrocketed, with something like 98% of deepfakes being pornographic, disproportionately targeting women. And you can just imagine what that can do to a young victim being bullied at school. So that is our conversation with human-centered AI advocate Johan Steyn, who's on the line with us. Johan, we've got Boniswa who's on the line who'd like to engage with you. Hi, Boniswa.
Hi, Pabi, and hi to Johan. I hope you guys are okay. And it's just so shocking. Like, birds and bees are fake now. And I've been saying, you know what, the conversation, it reminded me of growing up. Our parents, my mom especially, because I was teasing her the other day, she was on TikTok until late at night. I'm like, look at you, when I was a kid, you took my phone, punished me because I was on Mix 33, because social media is bad, but now the wheels have turned. And back then, we were the kids who were told, don't be on social media, don't believe everything you see on the internet because it's not real.
Yeah.
Now, our parents are on social media right at the time, and everything is fake, and they are the ones who literally go to social media as their first point of reference. And hence I think more and more now, they actually need to be educating the adults, not only the children. And the reason I say that with the work that I do in the strategy stuff is to teach the household. Blocking things doesn't help, because as you just highlighted, in the previous hour, that these communities, these other people who don't come from the same household. But if the parents aren't fully aware of this tech that they're dealing with, they're not going to be able to teach it properly in the household, communicate it properly, because pornography has always been there, just now they put a face on it. Now it can be used to extort kids, for example, at school, to blackmail, things like that. But now that goes to another point, the fact that we have social media pages and we post, and like, get content, get lifestyle, it's the full IR, like, what are we going to do? It's tech. The cameras, the what pixel. I mean, that's nice. I was thinking the other day that if someone had to use me, for example, they probably won't find much data because I'm on social media, but I'm not really there. In the sense that the more you post yourself, you are literally giving away your data. You are literally giving them all your facial angles. They get you from the left, the right, the top, the bottom, the back.
But I'm a little bit more curious, if you don't mind me interrupting, because you've worked with kids in a school. I don't know how pervasive this is in a South African context. So can you kind of paint a picture for me with cybercrime, with cyberbullying? Go, guys.
I think because in the hood, it would be real videos. So it wasn't AI. So you'd find that it's actually videos of the real things. But I think what might happen now, especially the bullies, and maybe they want to extort kids, they might just find a video, put someone's facial data on it, and then just use that to, like, maybe exploit them and just tell them bring us lunch every day, or we're going to explode, things like that. It's just adding on to something that had already been there, and we've just always been focusing on the kids. And I think more and more now, it's the adults that we need to teach, because it's the adults that manage the household. It's the adults that drive the transport. It's the adults, that are leading the community. So blocking it hasn't helped in the past 20 years, ever since we've had cell phones. It's not about work now that we have AI. It's not about...
What did you do to your parents? Because the way the things you're explaining are hilarious. And let me tell you, I did the same thing. I had those old school dial-up computers. I had a job when I was younger, so I bought myself a computer. And in the middle of the night, I would be bong, 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 getting onto the internet. And what I was looking at, things that I was not age appropriate for. So I understand that is something that's going to happen now that we have technology in our hands. But you're so right. And we must have another conversation about this, about making sure that our parents and grandparents are also very, very, very aware of what's a deep fake, what's real, and how to tell the difference between the two. Thank you, Boniswa. It's always interesting when Boniswa calls, because she also tutors about AI and she teaches in the tech space and has been a teacher. So you can imagine how many perspectives she has. Talk to me about that idea of, right, we're talking about deep fake pornography right now, but there are also other deep fakes. And that's what she's talking about, what we have to go and tell our 70, 75, and 82-year-old parents about.
I loved what she said. Bonisa, was it, Pavi?
Yeah, Bonisa, yeah.
Firstly, let me just quickly say, when she said the birds and the bees conversation is what I got from it. It's outdated, and I so agree.
Yeah.
Because we need new ways of talking about sex with our children. And giving them a book, because I got a book saying this is what boys need to know, and kind of outsourced it and just go read the book and hopefully you don't look at porn kind of thing. We need to learn as parents to have age-appropriate but honest conversations. There are so many resources we can use without kind of sweeping it under the rug and talking about it as the most beautiful thing in the world that it is in the right context. It's not a horribly bad thing, and that's why porn is such a bad thing. So first wanted to say that. So deepfake fraud just in the US has risen with $12.3 billion over the last year. So I don't know if I said deepfake is fraud. So what happens here is you get a call from what seems like your bank. It's a voice call or a text or an email that is so contextually seemingly accurate that you are prone to respond to it. Or you get a voice message from your child. It sounds just like a child. It speaks with the mannerisms and the lingo that your child speaks, and say, I'm stuck, I'm abducted, I need 10,000 rand. Those kind of things are picking up a lot. But this topic, even though we're talking about deepfake pornography, but deepfakes from a business risk point of view, whether you're a business owner or just a pensioner, and what messages are from your bank or not, is something that is happening so much, and so many people are losing money and being caught out. It is a scourge, Pabi, and we need, all of us, but especially our parents and their counterparts, need a lot of education. They tend, if it seems like it's my bank, I tend to trust it because I've been able to do it for 60 years.
Yes.
Now they don't know that link that you're going to click on the email is not your bank. And that's why, sadly, they who only have maybe a 2,000 or 3,000 rand a month pension, they are getting robbed. Not the executives of big companies. And we'll see this happen more and more. We also see a lot of this deepfake technology in what we call romance scams, where people contact you on a Facebook or somewhere else, and it seems so real, it's so contextual. It's like the man of your dreams or the woman of your dreams. And if they take their time, after 6 months, they suddenly need some money. And a lot of people fall for that. So we need a lot of education. We tend to believe these things are true, Bobby. And let me just end this portion by saying, the sad thing is we are in what they call a post-truth society.
Yes.
We can't believe anything anymore. But that's also sad because you have to believe something. You have to have a worldview, whether it's religious or something else. Something like maybe hopefully the New York Times and the SABC and other kind of networks are trustworthy. But if you cannot believe anything anymore, then you are in a very dangerous place in your life, because what do you base it on? But I love the comment on the fact that especially our parents and pensioners need a lot of upskilling to not fall for this stuff. It's going to increase multiple layers every year, I think, Pabi.
Post-truth.
Yes, go Google that. There's some scary stuff out there about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, I keep wanting to circle back to the school environment, because I want to understand how definitely on one hand we're making strides in education because of AI and the things that we can do with it. But now there's also got to be some sort of protective measure. And I don't know about South Africa's existing laws. I think I ask you this every time we talk, Johan. Are we catching up? Are the laws explicitly addressing AI-generated deepfake pornography? Are we there yet?
We're not there yet. We do, and it's, I think, a good thing to talk about. What do you do if you are the victim of something like this AI-generated pornography? So we do, in our laws, existing laws, criminalize non-consensual sharing of intimate images. So on the one hand, we get what they call a revenge porn, which is when couples in a safe environment with agreement maybe took some pictures of each other, internet pictures, and then when the relationship broke up, they would spread it around and do horrible things with it. That's one thing. And then but these laws don't explicitly address AI-generated deepfake pornography. We do have the Sexual Offences and Related Matters Amendment Act. We have the Cybercrimes Act. So these acts do speak to it somehow or another.
Right.
But let's talk about what happens if you're the victim now. What do you do? The problem is it's so easy and quick to create this content, and it's almost impossible to prosecute them because to find out who's the source, because maybe that image has been shared 10,000 times.
Holy moly.
Now, everyone who shares it is criminally liable, but to find them, and especially to find the source, is very difficult. So the first thing you do, contact the platform, be it Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and say, please remove it. Good luck. They'll probably not even reply.
Yeah.
Then you go to the police to initiate a criminal investigation. And if you can, consult a relevant attorney about it and maybe get an interdict or a court order. But now, against who is that interdict if you can't trace who is the creator of this? We spoke about the Cybercrimes Act. Interestingly enough, the Films and Publications Amendment Act also criminalizes the distribution of private sexual images without consent. Preserve the evidence, keep those images, as disturbing as it may be, because you're going to need it in the future. Act quickly. But probably, unfortunately, if you are the victim, whether it is just revenge porn from an ex-boyfriend, or whether it's the topic of today, AI-generated images, you will probably not find legal recourse, and you'll probably not be able to stop it. Currently, with our legal framework, there's no way to find who did it, who initiated it, who distributed it, and what to do about it. And that is a horrible place to be in. So, but start with the police. Start looking at an attorney if you need to. Maybe you can block that person sharing it, but I think from a school's point of view, it's probably within day one with 1,000 school children already, and then 10,000 the next day. That poor child.
You mean how much that's been circulated?
Yes, probably, I would think.
Yeah, you're right.
Yes. So our laws globally, but in South Africa as well, are not catching up with how to prosecute this. And I also practically don't know how you do it, given that it's digital. It's not like you found the guy hitting a window and breaking in kind of thing, But
the issue is that because it's been so widely shared, you don't know where the source is. And that's the issue. And I wonder if there's technology that can override and help us with that technology.
Yeah. Currently, as far as I'm aware, probably not. That would be great. But nope. But now that child, the images all over the school and maybe all over other schools. And now we need to zone in on that child and obviously with the teachers to help that child. Because there's nothing you can do to stop the spread. You just have to help them cope with it. Now, you and I grew up in a world where we would never deal with this stuff. We don't as parents even know how to help our kids, back to the previous comments about educating parents and caregivers and the like. I think the big thing I want to say today is the increase of this problem will be multiple every year. We cannot walk away from it. We cannot be asleep at the wheel. We don't know what to do about it. But the basics, like we said, block what you can, be good parents, let your kid come to you first when there's a problem. Our children's children will face a world that we can't even imagine with our children. I know I'm sounding like a bit of a naysayer.
I'm getting very sad, Johan.
But I have a responsibility to say this. I'm not a motivational speaker today. This is serious stuff.
I'm getting very scared because I also have a boy. And no one's immune from this, boys or girls, right? No one's immune from this. And I hear how they talk about homosexuality, and I hear how nobody is immune to this. So yes, you're absolutely right. Our children's children will be facing things that we, even if you try to keep up, it's a completely different world. Boniswa did say she herself will not be able to be easily accessed on any social media because she doesn't post herself. Is there even an option to say you can post, but post in private groups or post less, or, make some rules around how they utilize the social media, which I think should only be started to utilize from age 16, but that's just my opinion.
I agree. Now, look, my kid won't have a phone until he's about that age, and that's now practically difficult. What about when he's at school and he needs me? But then I'm going to give him one of the phones I used 20 years ago. You can literally only call an SMS,
Absolutely, yeah.
But don't put anything on Facebook or any of these platforms. Don't put your children's pictures on it, even if it's closed groups. Now, closed groups is not a bad thing. But we're building a digital footprint of our kids, which they don't understand and haven't consented to since they are born. And for the rest of their life. And you think you delete a picture on Facebook, it's never gone.
Yeah.
It's always stored somewhere. So be very careful with what you share about your private life, the kind of pictures you take. I mean, most of I've got friends with teenage children. I look at their Facebook feeds. I mean, they all have like 5,000 friends, which is impossible. And they share. We know they share. I'm on the toilet now. I'm eating this thing now. They just, everything about their life is on there. If you can harvest that data, which is not difficult, and there's damage you can do with it. So my advice to parents is nothing on platforms like Facebook about your kids.
Okay.
Unless it is smart, no pictures, so maybe very broad brushes of we had a great picnic, but don't say where you went, don't say where they go to school, don't say what their names are. This can be cyber criminality, and especially cyber criminals targeting young kids have increased even more than the stuff we've spoken about today, Barbie. So we have to be very careful. Facebook is it's like the fake life that you want to show people out there. You look great on every picture. Your kids are the best mannered. It's all wonderful, and it's depressing because we take 500 pictures of our kid on a day and we post the most perfect one as if that's our life. That's a whole other conversation, but be very careful with what you share on any platform.
And hopefully that will start to get, I suppose, more awareness, right? Or more care, because not to walk down a dark alley. So perhaps this becomes a dark alley, and how to handle yourself even when you're going out. It becomes the world where, how to handle yourself at a certain age. Hopefully we can catch that, because it seems to have already run away from us. Let's speak to Thabo, who's on the line. Hi, Thabo.
Hi, Pabi, and your guest there. Yeah, Pabi, we need proper ways to regulate this thing. AI, is going to give us a lot of problems. The way social media did, So I think we need some kind of a plan how it must be regulated, because it's coming, and it's coming fast. Here we have people who can take your photo, Pabi, and then your voice, and then make it live. Someone saying things, that you didn't say yourself. So it's going to be a problem with job displacement, and national security, misinformation, that will undermine our democracy. So we need a way so that we can be able to regulate this thing. I think proper systems should be put as soon as possible, because we're going to have a big problem with this AI.
So what would you imagine some of those boundaries and laws put in position should be?
But I think, each and every device that is going to be bought, it has to have a security that must be installed for those places where people want to cheat or do some other stuff that is illegal, because of, I think with your device in your hand, the IP address that can be registered to Pabi, it will simply know that who is responsible for doing this thing. But as for now, we don't even know. Someone can do it, without even knowing, because of their IP address might be registered to another person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a very, very interesting idea. So from the purchase, from switching on whatever the device is, it kind of has an ID that will not be able to be removed from what you're sharing.
That's the ideal. I think Pabi, I mean, he touched on 5 or 6 topics that deserves 7 hours of conversations, all very relevant. No, that was really, really great. Regulation is important. We are so far behind in our country. There's a lot happening, but not quickly enough. Whether regulation will really help, because this is this global community, and you can be anonymous online to a large extent, it is a question. But let's do what we can do. Let's find a way of prosecuting those who are wrong. Let's find a way of enabling our police services to have the technology to find these people. So Tabu touched on some very, very big ticket items there. It is scary. The fact that we've got no regulatory framework for AI technologies in our country, and we should have had it 4 years ago, is a challenge, Bobby. But then let's do what we can do as business owners and as parents, even though the regulation is not there at the moment.
What's the school's responsibility in all of this, Johan?
Just say again?
What's the school's responsibility in all of this?
Sorry. Just say again, sorry, Pabi.
Oh, moet ek sê, wat moet die skool doen, Johan?
Oh. Do you think Afrikaans is going to make my line better? But thank you. A school, look, I love it. Then let me start talking about kunsmatige intelligensie. It's scary to do it in Afrikaans.
Yeah, I'm out of it completely.
No, I love it. Look, I do work with a number of primary schools in particular. It's about awareness for parents, awareness for teachers, and then bringing it into how we train the children. And again, it should start at home more than at school. But the school should have ways of educating the children and have policies around it. So I know of schools that don't allow any mobile phones. When the moment you enter the school area, you switch it off unless it's an emergency. Other schools are just, you can do whatever you want with your phone. But the teachers I've been dealing with, and they are wonderful people, and we put a big part of our children's future into their hands. In my experience, Barbie, are largely totally oblivious about what this tech is and the danger that it can do. So a part of what I do is to try and train teachers about it so that they can be aware and train their children. But when you train to be a teacher, and I don't know if it happens these days, I doubt it, I don't think any part of your curriculum is about this tech and the damage that it can do.
Not at all.
So my job in the little sphere of influence I have is to work with my son's school's teachers and to try and help them. But Afrikaans was great, Pabi. Thank you.
But I mean, I suppose we can even use that now to talk about if for you as a native speaking Afrikaans person to talk about and translate all of this lingo. When are we going to get to Sepedi? When are we going to get to Sesotho? When are we going to get to Chivenda? How there's a lot of work to be done, Jan.
A great deal of work. Look, 3,000 languages on our continent. Now, I must say, I use ChatGPT a lot to translate stuff into or out of Afrikaans, between Afrikaans and English, and it's powerful. I sit with my friends who speak isiZulu Xhosa, and they would say it's 98% accurate.
Amazing.
The translation.
Amazing.
So and now we see more and more contact centers and even educational platforms using a real-time translation, but not just word for word, but to use contextual translation. It is happening, not fast enough, but it is out there. Again, as parents, I would translate stuff for I use English is better than Afrikaans in any case, but we're now learning Zulu a little bit on the side, and we're doing it for AI. It's there and it's free. Go and discover it. And but we should do more when it comes to African languages and just African cultural nuances in particular. It's not represented in these platforms to a large extent.
Okay, so if this has happened, unfortunately, to some young girl or young boy at a school, what is their first step?
Probably report it to the platform, although it's a good thing to do it. The police will probably want proof that you've reported it to a Google or a Facebook.
Okay.
immediately go to the police service. I don't even know if they know what you're talking about when you walk in there and say, I've been deepfaked, but do it, get a case number. Consult an attorney or a legal expert if you are able to, and I know many people are not. And it might then result into an interdict or a court order. But then if it happens in the school, the parents need to get involved and speak with the headmaster and the senior teachers to see how are they going to manage it. And then that child, depending on what the damage is that you can assess, might need or probably will need some psychological help, play therapy or something. Because, I mean, the scourge and the impact on them for the rest of their lives, even if the law does nothing, and even if you can't claim damages, the primary focus is that child and his or her well-being. And it might take months to get them there, but it's going to happen. It's not when, it's if.
So don't give up on the healing process. It is possible. I would even go as far as saying, and I know you're the expert, but pull them out of that school. It's okay to pull them out of that school. If there's another school that's available to you that you can afford, that's in your area, I would even go that far, because it's very traumatizing walking the halls of a school that has done that to you. But Johan, we've come to the end of our conversation. In fact, we are late for the next show. Quickly, just tell us again where your LinkedIn is. How do we find you?
Yeah, just Johan Steyn, Johansteyn on LinkedIn, or just AI for Business. That's AIFOR business.net. Reach out. I reply to everyone that sends me messages if I can, Pabi. I appreciate you. I appreciate this heavy topic, and thank you so much for everything.
Thank you so much. Human-centered AI advocate Johan Steyn talking to us on Tech Tuesday.